Can you pretend to be my date for tonight? The rain was relentless that November evening, drumming against the pavement as Maya stood beneath the awning of the Grand Meridian Hotel, her emerald dress clinging to her trembling frame. Inside those gleaming doors waited her entire extended family, gathered for her cousin's engagement party. The same cousin who had spent years pitying Maya's single status, the same aunt who would corner her with questions about settling down. But worst of all, Marcus would be there with his new girlfriend, the woman he'd left Maya for 6 months ago. The thought of walking in alone, of facing their knowing glances and whispered sympathies, felt unbearable. Then she saw Hema, a tall stranger in an impeccably tailored charcoal suit, stepping out of a sleek black car. In that moment of desperate clarity, Maya made a decision that would change everything. "Excuse me," she called out, her voice cracking with urgency. "I know this sounds insane, but can you pretend to be my date for tonight? Please, I'm begging you." If you're already hooked by this story, don't forget to like this video, drop a comment below telling us what you think will happen next, and subscribe to Kindness Pulse for more heartwarming stories that will restore your faith in humanity. The stranger stopped, his dark eyes studying her with an intensity that made her breath catch. For a moment, she thought he'd simply walk away, dismissing her as another eccentric city dweller. But then something shifted in his expression, or perhaps he saw the genuine desperation in her eyes, or maybe he recognized the kind of pain that comes from being truly cornered by life. "How long?" he asked simply, his voice deep and unexpectedly kind. Maya's heart leapt. 2 hours, maybe 3. "I just need someone to stand beside me so I don't look like the pathetic ex-fiancé copyright he everyone pities." She hated how her voice broke on those words, hated revealing so much to a complete stranger. He glanced at his watch, then back at her rain-dampened face. "All right, I'm Ethan." He extended his hand. "Maya," she breathed, taking it. His grip was warm, steady, anchoring. What Maya didn't know was that Ethan Cole was the CEO of Cole Industries, one of the city's most successful tech companies, and he'd just left a board meeting that had left him questioning everything about his isolated, corporate-driven life. What she couldn't have guessed was that her desperate request would feel like the most genuine human interaction he'd had in years. They walked in together, and Maya felt the room's energy shift immediately. Heads turned. Conversations paused mid-sentence. Ethan's presence commanded attention effortlessly, the way he carried himself, the confidence in his stride, the protective hand he placed on the small of her back. "That's him," she whispered, nodding toward Marcus, who stood frozen across the room, his expression a mixture of shock and something that looked painfully like regret. But as the evening unfolded, something unexpected happened. Ethan didn't just play a role, he engaged with her family genuinely, laughing at her uncle's terrible jokes, asking her grandmother about her garden, defending Maya's career choices when her aunt made passive-aggressive comments. He listened when Maya talked about her work at the non-profit, his questions thoughtful and probing. Between the performance, something real began to emerge. "Why did you say yes?" Maya asked during a quiet moment on the terrace, away from the crowd. "To a stranger's crazy request." Ethan smiled, a sadness flickering in his eyes. "Because I know what it feels like to be alone in a room full of people. Because sometimes the bravest thing we can do is ask for help. And because something told me you were worth saying yes to." His honesty shattered something inside her, and for the first time that night, Maya's tears weren't from pain but from feeling truly seen. When Marcus approached them later, attempting to pull Maya aside for a talk, Ethan stepped forward with quiet authority. "I think the lady is exactly where she wants to be," he said firmly. Marcus retreated, and Maya realized she no longer cared about his opinion. The healing she'd been searching for wasn't improving anything to him, it was in rediscovering her own worth. As the party wound down, Maya walked Ethan to his car, reluctant for the evening to end. "Thank you," she said, "for everything. You were more than I could have asked for." Ethan pulled out his business card, then paused and flipped it over, writing something on the back. "This is my personal number. Use it when you're ready for a real date, not a pretend one." Because Maya, tonight might have started as an act, but what I felt in there was the most real thing I've experienced in years. Before we get to how this beautiful story ends, if you're loving this journey, please hit that like button and subscribe to Kindness Pulse. Your support means the world and helps us bring you more inspiring stories every week. 6 months later, Maya stood in a different venue, wearing a different dress, but with the same man by her side. Only this time, Ethan wasn't pretending. What began as a desperate plea to a stranger had blossomed into the most authentic love either of them had ever known. Sometimes the bravest moments of vulnerability lead us exactly where we're meant to be. Sometimes asking for help isn't weakness, it's the courage that opens doors we never knew existed. And sometimes, the person who saves us is simply waiting for someone brave enough to ask. Remember, your next miracle might be hiding in your next moment of courage.